What's going on, everyone? This is Dom, and today we are checking out 30 plus of the best and new hidden features in iOS 16. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already to catch more videos like this in the future. And without any further delay, let's get into all of these hidden features. All right, so first up with the hidden features here, as you can see, one of them is actually hiding in plain sight. And if we swipe around a little bit, you can see that it'll appear right there. And that is a little search button to bring up Spotlight, as you can see. So it's actually pretty helpful because you can search for stuff right in here just by tapping that. I mean, you can obviously get to it by pulling down as well, but it's kind of a cool little shortcut to have. And you can enable or disable that within the home screen settings right here. So you can turn that off if you wanted to and you didn't want to have that little Spotlight search there. But speaking of the Spotlight search, the second feature here is kind of cool. If you type in alarm, you can actually create an alarm right here from Spotlight. Just that easy. Go ahead and press done and you'll be good to go. It's actually kind of a cool feature. So next up here we have, it's kind of a quirky little feature here, but if we want to make a wallpaper, we can use all sorts of different customization options here, but we can scroll down and we can create a wallpaper based on emojis. I mean, again, kind of a quirky little feature, but nonetheless, it's still pretty cool. And we can have our little emojis here. We can have a little small grid. There's actually many different options that you can choose for your emoji wallpaper. Any one that you want, really. Well, let's see. If we want the settings, the gears, and the tires, you can make a little emoji wallpaper. Not too crazy, but kind of cute. So next we are talking about editing lock screens. And if we tap and hold on the lock screen, you can see here that we have the ability to customize. So we can choose from different widgets here based on the apps that are compatible with that so far. And as you can see, I have some laid out like my iPhone battery right there. And you can also go ahead and change the color or the font of the time. So you got kind of some customization options. You can also customize the background, obviously. But what's cool is that you can have multiple lock screens. So you can see here that I have different ones. And there is also a purpose for that as well, which we'll get into in a second. So like I said, with those custom lock screens here, you actually have the ability to have different focus modes set or linked to different lock screens. So right here, you can see I have Do Not Disturb linked to this one. If I go back here, I have personal linked to this one. And if we go back into that and we go ahead and tap on one of these focus modes, you can see I can link a lock screen to a different focus mode here. So we have work, sleep, personal, or do not disturb. And so if I want to switch easily to personal versus do not disturb, I just tap and hold, swipe over, boom, and now I'm in personal focus mode instead of do not disturb, which is over here on this one. Now, as you may have noticed, notifications are now scrolling up from the bottom, but you can change how they are displayed. So if we go into our notification settings here, we can then go ahead and choose display as, count, stack, or list. So you can have either of those three options available on your lock screen for your notifications. Another thing that has changed in iOS 16, which might not be a welcome change for many, is that voice memos has moved. So it's no longer the little microphone right here. That's dictation. We'll get into that in a little bit. It's this blue icon right here. So if you tap that, you bring up the voice memos interface, and you can either tap to record and just let it go, which I actually kind of find a nice thing. We all used to do the trick where you press it and then you swipe your finger up to let go. Well, this one's just tap and you can record, and then it will drop it right into the message slot to send, or you can tap and hold and then you can release to send, or if you swipe up, you can release to cancel, or you can even go all the way up to actually be able to see your waveform there if you wanted to, and then go ahead and be able to send that. But it's a little bit different. I don't necessarily like not having it right there. It's just going to be something to get used to. I thought it was very quick and simple having it on the side there. One cool feature here that you might actually start to like is if we go into the settings and we go to sounds and haptics and then we go to keyboard feedback, we can actually turn on haptic keyboard feedback right there. And so when you're actually typing, you get a slight little buzz on the keyboard as you would on like an Android phone or something like that. This is not something that's been available to iOS in the past. I actually like to prefer to keep it off, but it's there if you want to use it. Next up, we're jumping back into the Messages app for editing messages. So let's just type in, hey, how are you? And I misspelled that word right there. So if I tap and hold on this, I have the ability to edit the message. I can go back in there and fix my mistake, and then I can go ahead and complete the edit there, and then we have that. Now, if the person is not on iOS 16, they do not see that edit. And furthermore, if you want to unsend the message, undo send, you can see actually it says in very small text that if they're on an earlier version of iOS, they may still see the message. So definitely keep that in mind when you're trying to unsend stuff. Another feature within the Messages app here is the ability to undo deleting threads. So if I delete this thread right here, and then I go to edit, I can go to recently deleted, and then I can go ahead and recover that message, and it'll hold that in there up to 30 days. So I can go ahead and recover the 4 messages in that thread, and then they're right back where I put them. So now we're in the Mail app, as you can see, and a nice, cool little feature here is the ability to undo the sending of a message. We have undo send right there at the bottom. I can undo it and be able to go continue to revise my message, and you can keep doing that. It'll just actually stay down there for a little bit. I think they give you a certain amount of time there, but it's pretty cool to be able to have the ability to undo sending within the Mail app. All right, so now let's jump into the Notes app here, and if we want to be able to lock a note, previously we'd have to set an iCloud password, but now if we lock the note, we can actually use our iPhone password here or Face ID to be able to lock or unlock that note, which is a nice feature. So let's go ahead and jump into Safari real quick here, and you can actually see that I have a group called My Faves, and if I go ahead and add a tab to this, it'll stay in that little specific category. Let's go ahead and just go to Google here real quick, and we have these 3 tabs right here. Now, you can actually make your own tab groups here. We can go to a new empty tab group. We can make it private. We can go to the start page, but we can also share these tab groups. So if we pull down, you can see that little share button at the top. We can actually invite people to collaborate within this Safari tab group, which is another cool feature that we have inside of there. So we can rename custom tab groups, and then we can share them to collaborate. All right, so next we're going to jump into the settings and go to the accessibility section because we can actually do a feature to where we can lock the phone to end a call. So if you're on a call, all you have to do is lock the phone. It'll end the call. You can have that on or off if you'd like. It's an accessibility setting, so definitely feel free to use it as needed. Now, speaking of settings, one of the coolest features that I've seen in here, which is very, very helpful, is in the Wi-Fi section. So if we go to the Wi-Fi section and then we tap on a Wi-Fi network that we're connected to or we have saved in our phone, you can actually go ahead and see the password. So if I give it my Face ID here, you can see that it'll show me the password for that Wi-Fi network. So I can actually be able to see the password in case maybe I connected to it a long time ago or somebody shared it with me and I don't remember the password. It will actually show you that right here in the Settings app, which is pretty cool. Now, everybody knows how you have the ability to send messages with Siri. And if we long press and say, send Dom Esposito a message, hey, what's going on? You can see Siri pops up and it asks me if I want to send it. Well, we can actually skip that message confirmation or that confirmation to be able to send a message. If we go in here into the Siri settings, you can see that we do have the ability to automatically send messages right here. You can turn that on, and we do it again. Send Dom Esposito a message. Hey, what's up? Then you'll be able to see a little countdown going on the send area right there, and it will send it automatically. Another really cool feature within the Settings app is the ability to blur the background on your wallpaper. So if we go into the wallpaper settings and we tap on our home screen here, you can see legibility blur is off. But if we enable that, you can see that we get a nice blurred background underneath all the icons, which actually makes it a lot easier to read. But you can have that on or off depending on your needs, and it only works on your home screens and not on the lock screen. We also have a pretty cool feature within the Photos app. So if we go into the Photos app here and we go to our albums, all the way at the bottom here, you can see that we have recently deleted and hidden. Those are locked by default now. So if we tap on those, we're going to need Face ID, we're going to need a password, things like that. So we can't actually get into those. And the recently deleted are going to be locked as well and require your iPhone password or Face ID. There's also a new cool feature here in the Photos app. You'll see a new album called Duplicates, and if we tap on that, it'll show you all the duplicate photos that you have in your library, and then you can go ahead and merge those, and it will actually take the highest resolution one and keep that. So we've just merged those photos, and now we're getting rid of duplicates that we might have in our photo library while keeping the highest resolution possible of them and saving space. Another cool little tidbit of information here is in the Settings app again. If we go into the Settings app on the main page, you'll actually be able to see that we have controls for our AirPods, for any kind of headphones that are compatible in this way with iOS devices, and we can access all of the controls from there instead of having to go to the Control Center here and then tap on that to be able to do that, or dig within the Settings app to get to these controls. It's actually right there on the front page, so as long as one of your devices is close by to your headphones, you'll be able to easily access that little menu option right there, which is pretty handy. Now let's say we were editing a photo, right, and we go ahead and go in here and we go to edit, and maybe we're just doing some fine tuning or whatever with the exposure, and then we tap on done. We can actually go to these three dots at the top, and then we can copy those edits and go back and paste them on another photo. Paste edits, and it'll do the exact same corrections to that new photo, which is actually pretty helpful. Another cool feature with Siri that I can't really demonstrate right at this moment is the ability to have Siri hang up a call. And all you have to do is go into your Siri settings here and have Siri call hang up enabled. So once we enable that, we can tell Siri, using the command, to hang up the call, and she will hear you and hang up the call just like that without you actually having to press any buttons, which is kind of cool. All right, so speaking of Siri, let's go ahead and jump back into the Messages app so I can randomly send myself some more messages. We can enable dictation, and it leaves the keyboard up. As you can see, the dictation button is right here where the voice memos button used to be. So if we tap that, dictation now is always on, and we can go ahead and interrupt it. And then we can keep speaking, and it'll keep detecting our voice. If we want to turn that off, we just tap this little button down here at the bottom, and we can go ahead and turn off the dictation. But we can also dictate emojis in dictation or in Siri. So check this out. Smiling poop emoji. Or send Dom Esposito a message. Smiling poop emoji. And then you can go ahead and send that way. So it works with dictation, or it works with Siri as well, which is kind of cool. Now, this isn't per se a hidden feature, but it's definitely a very important one within iOS, at least in my opinion anyways, and I'm talking about safety check. So if we scroll down to the privacy settings and we scroll all the way to the bottom right here, we have safety check, and what that allows us to do is an emergency reset of our people and apps, our account security, our emergency contacts. We can actually go ahead and start the emergency reset, and we can reset anybody that holds our location. And this is very particularly important for victims of domestic violence or abuse, because you never know if the abuser is watching their every step or has connections between their apps and their people that they're on their phone. And it's a really helpful thing that I'm so glad that Apple is addressing. Having safety check in here is definitely going to save lives and prevent a lot of very terrible situations in the future. Now, this is a random one that I can't really demonstrate very easily, but Face ID now works in landscape mode. So you can see that I was able to unlock it in landscape mode. It works in portrait or landscape. I mean, maybe you're laying on the couch or something and you're holding your phone in landscape. Well, you can still use Face ID that way, which is pretty cool. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you is live text in a video frame. So I have a video right here. I was just recording some text on the screen, but if I pause a frame anywhere, and let's go ahead and tilt this back up this way, and I zoom in, I can actually go ahead and select text from that video's frame, which is really, really neat. And then we do have also a new menu that gives us a lot of other options, such as translate or look up. I mean, we had some of these options before, but you're able to quickly do this from a video frame, which is really nice. Like, I can select all the text on this page right here from a video frame. I think that's really, really cool. So that about wraps it up for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, feel free to hit that thumbs up button right there. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already for more videos like this in the future. But this has been the best and new hidden features in iOS 16 beta. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, this is Dom, and I will catch you in the next video.